Many people assume that because NOlympics was created in a socialist organization, that we don't respect or enjoy sports. But this couldn't be further from the truth. We love sports, respect athletes, and think it's possible to be an ethical fan. Just because the Olympics and the World Cup are examples of corrupt capitalism, that doesn't mean ethical sporting events aren't possible. In fact, they've actually happened. There are several cases from the past 100 years of non-exploitative international sports exhibitions, Swolecialism, if you will, or where sports and socialism meet. Workers had this new thing called leisure, or free time, because they had fought for 8-hour days, weekends, and all sorts of other amazing benefits of collective organizing. And these workers wanted to use sports as a way to educate both the mind and the spirit, nurture the body, and promote democratic socialist values like solidarity, equality, and fairness. There were plenty of athletes across the spectrum on the left that saw the modern Olympics as nationalistic, exploitative, and competitive to the point of spoiling the enjoyment of sporting. So they proposed some alternatives. The workers' sports movement had its beginning in 1913, but its development was hindered by World War I. The workers' sports movement launched post-war in 1920 by the Socialist Workers' Sport International, or SOSI, in Lucerne, Switzerland. Lucerne is a mere 87 miles away from Lausanne, Switzerland, home of the International Olympic Committee, or IOC, and FIFA. When SOSI was founded, the movement included roughly 1 million members, with membership from over 16 countries, mostly in Europe, and included close to 700 Americans as well. The first Workers' Sports Olympiad was held in 1925 in Frankfurt. In 1931, Vienna hosted the second Workers' Olympiad, which attracted 250,000 spectators and 80,000 participating athletes. This was a colossal event at the time, attracting more spectators and athletes than the 1932 Los Angeles Olympics. The third and final Workers' Sports Olympiad took place in 1937 in Belgium as World War II interrupted and ultimately put an end to the Workers' Olympiad. When the dust from World War II settled, the International Labor Sports Federation, or CSIT, was established as the successor to SOSI. The CSIT is still active today and has delegates all around the world, with the exception of the United States. Their charter emphasizes labor rights, tolerance, democracy, and dialogue above profit. In other words, the opposite of the IOC. Socialist sports movements weren't limited to Europe. In America, members of the Communist Party in Chicago launched their own counter-Olympics in 1932. Barcelona would mount something similar in protest to the Nazi Games of 1936. While the IOC claims that the Olympics is the only way, we can look to these actual alternatives. A better games is possible if the people are willing to fight for it. Smart cities the world over, from Boston to Budapest, from Rome to Stockholm and Hamburg, all voted to reject the Olympics and can see that there are other completely plausible solutions out there. But before we can look toward alternatives, we must force the IOC and the politicians who enable them to admit the Olympic model is fundamentally flawed. In their quest to make the absurdly wealthy even wealthier, the Olympics create environments where the abuse of athletes and marginalized communities is inevitable. There are many paths forward in reimagining transnational sporting events, and judging from history, none of them involves exploitation for profit. Join us.